cloud. That is a massive smoke-filled sky. You can no longer see the horizon there. This is looking out from Los Angeles International Airport, and you can see the danger right now that the city of Los Angeles is facing. It is shrouded in smoke. The second largest city in the country, millions of people there, and of course the center of the entertainment universe, now threatened by this fast-moving blaze because of those winds. Chilling new images tonight of cars burning in the streets, traffic snarled on major highways as several drivers, had to actually abandon their vehicles. The flames tearing through the iconic Hollywood Hills. Officials say dry conditions on the ground and whipping winds are fueling the spread, making the wildfire even more dangerous than recent ones in the region. The cloud of smoke over L.A. visible for miles. Miraculously, authorities saying tonight that no injuries yet have been reported, but the governor was just saying some people did not heed the evacuation orders. Now, the fire scorching more than 1,200 acres and counting, powered by strong winds that could reach up to 100 miles per hour. At least 250 firefighters have been deployed to fight the blaze. You're talking about firefighters from all over the state and all over Southern California. With 19 million people under red flag warnings, many of them also in the evacuation zone, which covers part of the northwest L.A. area. This is where the fire is happening right now, the evacuation zones. It is in the Palisades, that area of Los Angeles right there, and it's threatening Santa Monica and the surrounding communities. Now, also, Will Rogers Beach, which is a very popular tourist destination near Santa Monica, has been evacuated as well. Residents seen grabbing what belongings they can carry and fleeing their homes. This is what the scene looks like, at least in one neighborhood. 30,000 people are now under evacuation orders. We want to begin our coverage tonight with Liz Kreutz, who's live for us tonight in Los Angeles. Liz, I want you to walk our viewers through what your day has been like over the past couple of hours. I know you were in some type of danger. You had to get out and reconnect with your crew. Talk to us about what you're seeing there behind you.
Hey, Tom. Yeah, it has been a really volatile, chaotic day for us, for so many people here right now. We made it out of the area where we had gotten stuck along with others in gridlock traffic. At one point, there were flames on both sides of the road. A bulldozer had to come through and push through abandoned cars to create a path, which is how we made it here to the Pacific Coast Highway. It is extremely windy. Just before you came to me, it felt like it was going to knock us over. It feels like the winds are pushing the flames towards the coast right now. We were seeing flames in the distance just moments ago. You see that intense smoke, and this is just getting started.
Tonight, panic in the Pacific Palisades as a wind-driven wildfire blazes through one of Southern California's most iconic neighborhoods.
People are panicking, and it's a parking lot, so there's about an hour wait at the bottom of Palisades Drive.
I rushed over here to pack my belongings, and I got the evacuation orders.
Multiple homes burning, with residents told to get out, some people getting trapped.
The homeowners are saying they're unable to access any exit routes. There's fire on both sides of the roads.
Many abandoning their cars in the gridlock traffic. Fire crews using a bulldozer to push cars out of the way to clear a path.
We are in bumper-to-bumper traffic right now as hundreds of people try to get out. You can see flames here on both sides of the road with very little visibility.
Right around, up and around those two homes, they didn't catch fire, but everything around them did.
Our NBC Los Angeles station inside this hard-hit neighborhood.
This is a large clock here, a large what looks like an antique, very beautiful family clock here on the ground. There are also photo albums that the firefighters pulled from the home just minutes before the flames overtook it, because they said that they felt like they at least wanted to save something.
Smoke from the growing fire seen for miles around L.A., where another brush fire ignited in West Hollywood.
This is something you hardly ever see. We are in the heart of L.A. on Sunset Boulevard, where there was a brush fire that shut down the road here. All these firefighters trying to get ahead of the wind, putting out the flames that were up in these hills.
Firefighters using airdrops to put out the flames. Tonight, 19 million people under red flag warnings, with wind gusts throughout the state expected to reach 100 miles per hour in some areas, sending trees onto cars and power lines.
The only thing I heard above that wind was the power lines popping.
The intense smoke creating dangerous air quality across Southern California, with the firefight continuing into the night, where high winds are expected to only further fan the flames.
And Liz, we know that a news conference was just taking place before we came on the air. Update our viewers with any important information that came out of that news conference.
Yeah, Tom. So right now we know that this fire has exploded to more than 1,200 acres. 30,000 people are under evacuation orders right now. 10,000 structures are threatened right now. We know of multiple homes that have burned. We've also heard reports of people trapped, although officials are saying right now that there are no reports of injuries, which is truly remarkable, Tom, considering how fast this fire came through this neighborhood. But again, the winds are picking up, and the winds are expected to just grow throughout the night and fan the flames. We'll see, Tom.
Liz, there was a remarkable moment there in your story where you showed exactly what people in Los Angeles, some people in Los Angeles were going through. There was fire on both sides of your news vehicle. How did you and the crew, how were you guys able to get out of that?
Yeah, so, in that moment, of course, we had a moment where we realized, okay, this is not a great situation to be in, since behind us and in front of us was gridlock, back-to-back traffic. We did look on the map, and we knew that about a half mile in front of us was an area which we would call defensible space. It was a strip mall where there was a Starbucks, so our get-out plan, if we needed to, was to get out and walk on foot to that area. Thankfully, right away, there was a firefighters that came around. They came and knocked on our window. They told us, you're okay, you're going to be safe, just keep your windows rolled up, hang tight, and they put out the flames around us.
You know, Los Angeles is
remarkable work. All those firefighters.
Yeah, incredible. Los Angeles is a massive city. We were seeing some images out of LAX. Yeah. Have they stopped flights yet? What is sort of the concern at the airports? And then give me sort of a big picture perspective. Is this crippling the city of Los Angeles, or is this just happening in a corner of that massive city?
Yeah, well, we've heard that flights out of the Burbank airport, which is a smaller airport here in L.A., have stopped right now. It's just extraordinarily smoky. And traffic, Tom, is bad in L.A. as it is. This has had a ripple effect, creating congestion throughout the city, particularly in this area. But this is an extraordinarily populated area. It's also created extreme smoky conditions that are impacting people beyond this western part of the city. And so it's having a ripple effect. And on top of that, like I said, there was that fire on Sunset Boulevard in West Hollywood. So that created its own level of congestion. And then throughout the day, there have been smaller spot fires down in San Diego, in Riverside County. So this whole region, millions of people, Tom, have been impacted by this.
Okay, Liz Kreutz, starting us off tonight on Top Story on this breaking news. Liz, thank you to you and your crew. Please stay safe. I want to go to national climate reporter Chase Kane, who's on the ground in the fire zone at the intersection of the Pacific Coast Highway and, as you heard Liz mention, Sunset Boulevard. A very active scene behind you there, Chase. Talk to us about what you've been seeing over the past couple of hours.
Yeah, Tom, didn't realize I was actually just up the road from where Liz was, so I was making my way on foot after they had evacuated people out of those vehicles on Sunset Boulevard. This is the Pacific Coast Highway right here behind me, the famous highway that goes up the California coast. You can see these utility crews that have come in. Just a few moments ago, there was an ember that caught fire at the bottom of this power pole. So one of the gas station employees had come out with a garden hose and was doing his best to try and spray down the flame that was burning there at the base of this power line, also at a gas station. Not a great combination there. So that's why the utility crews are here. It looks like cutting power to the area. We are basically in the direction of where the wind and the smoke has been blowing. As the wind gusts pick up, we just get these thick balls of black smoke, Tom. Even as I was making my way down here to my crew on foot, I was seeing home after home burning, because with winds this strong, it picks up that ember and it just goes flying through the air. Whatever it catches is on fire. In some cases, that was homes, it was trees, it was cars, which have been abandoned here along Sunset Boulevard, Tom. Again, this entire area is under a mandatory evacuation. Nearly 30,000 people have been asked to leave their homes. And at times, police have been kind of frantic, just running through with sirens, with announcements, trying to get people out of the way, because this fire, this wind is making things incredibly dangerous, Tom.
Chase, your photographer there, when he goes wide on you, we can see that web of power lines above your head. And you mentioned that they were cutting power there. I know they've cut power to tens of thousands of residents in Los Angeles. Explain to our viewers why they're doing that, right? Because this is reminiscent of what we saw in Lahaina in Hawaii during the wildfires, where if you have down power lines, you have a wildfire, it can reignite other fires that have been put out.
Exactly. One live power line comes down and all of a sudden you have a brand new fire. You don't need that making the situation worse, because with these winds blowing 50 miles an hour, tropical storm force winds, Tom, when you have winds that are blowing that strong, they're already doing enough damage, pulling embers from existing fires. You don't want a power line adding yet another fire on top of that.
Yeah, and then finally, I'm not seeing a lot of cars in your area. Is it safe to say the people who were going to get out or who needed to get out have been able to get out, or is it because the road where you are is now closed?
This road, Pacific Coast Highway and Sunset, have been closed now for several hours. There was a stream of even just a couple of cars now that are coming through as people maybe have gotten trapped in the area. And so they're saying, hey, you got to get the car out of the way because we need to be able to get fire trucks through here. You see a couple of those cars right now. Some people maybe were trapped in their homes. Some people were trying to get home to get their last few important things. But yeah, I mean, this is really it. They're trying to keep the roads clear so that they can still protect what they can, Tom.
Chase, if your photographer can stay on this shot here, I mean, give me a rough estimate here. Is the visibility about 100 feet, 100 yards? I mean, it looks like you can't look too far out there because then all you see is smoke.
Yeah, I would say if you're a football fan, 50, 60 yards, certainly not a full football field of visibility. You might be able to see, you see the gas station here. If you pan just to the right, you see a Taco Bell sign. And just behind that, there's a grocery store. There's a condo building even further behind that. This is an incredibly densely populated area right here along the coast. You know, if this was clear, if this smoke wasn't here, you'd be able to see the famous Santa Monica Pier with that iconic Ferris wheel on the pier. That would be within our line of sight. But again, you can only see maybe 50 or 60 yards. And when those wind gusts pick up and blow that thick smoke through here, there have been times that I haven't even been able to see to the other side of the road, Tom.
Chase, I know you've been down there for a while. Do you know how much time the residents in that area were given to evacuate?
Some of them had minutes. Some of them had moments. I mean, there was one moment earlier where LA police came through and said, hey, there's a mobile home where the fire has just blown down this canyon toward this mobile home park, and we're struggling to get people out quickly enough. We also, when we were on with Hallie Jackson just a little while ago, there was a lady who was being pushed in a wheelchair through this closed road because she needed help to get out. I mean, she just wasn't able to move quickly. So it's dangerous for anyone right now, but imagine not being able to move quickly. Imagine needing help. That's what makes this especially dangerous for folks like that. Again, thankfully, the utility crews are here. Looks like they're turning off power. Some of the lights have gone dark inside the gas station, so that's a good sign.
And then finally, Chase, you know, we heard of people evacuating, getting stuck in traffic, abandoning their vehicles, and then running towards the beach. Talk to us about the scenario of why that happened.
Well, because you had two things happening. This actually happened to me as well. We were not far behind Liz Kreutz. Basically, you had people who were being told, get out of here. So they are creating gridlock in one direction. The emergency alert is also going off in my ear on the phone right now. And then you have other people who were trying to get back home to their homes, Tom. So you had... So sorry about that, Tom. We're getting an emergency alert in my ear, if you can still hear me. But basically, you had people trying to get to their homes to get things out, and then you also had people trying to evacuate. So that's why you had that gridlock in both directions. You may even be able to hear in my earpiece these emergency alerts that are going out, trying to urge people to get out of harm's way, Tom.
Okay, Chase, please stay safe with your crew, and obviously if you guys are in danger, get to some safety. We're going to stand by for us, because I'm sure we're going to come back to you. I do want to get to Dr. Ashay Sayal. He's an NBC News medical fellow, but he happens to be on the scene in Santa Monica, so we've enlisted him to report for us during this breaking news situation. So, Doctor, first things first, talk to us about the air quality where you are, and we see that massive storm, smoke cloud behind you.
Hey, Tom. Yeah, so this cloud here, those are clouds. That's all smoke, Tom. And where I live in Santa Monica, we're about a mile out from the mandatory evacuation orders. So just for folks who don't know, Santa Monica is just immediately south of the Pacific Palisades, about a mile or so away. I mean, so essentially, we've been watching that cloud come closer and closer to us. And so, Tom, I work at UCLA Health. I'm a practicing physician there. And, you know, we just heard from our emergency response system. So as of now, everything is on for business as usual. But we really are encouraging people to bring these out, these KN95s, if you are somebody who has asthma or heart disease or any sort of lung disease. It really is a good idea to bring this on, even if you aren't in the immediate vicinity, Tom.
I know you have your mask off because you're reporting live, but talk to me about the air quality there. How dangerous is it right now?
It's getting worse, Tom. I mean, to just put it bluntly, it smells like barbecue. It smells like smoke out here. And so we've already got those people with chronic disease, with asthma and other lung disease. It's not something you may see immediately. It may be something that you're fine now, but in a few days you really start to see that effect. And we've seen that as wildfires have taken hold in other parts of the country, including in Manhattan, just not too long ago. So, Tom, to answer your question, it is getting worse, and we're really, really urging people to put these on if you are nearby.
How fast, I'm sure you were watching it all day, how fast did this fire spread?
Well, I can tell you in the morning when I woke up, there was none of this here. And then over the span of a few hours, you're hearing sirens every few minutes here. Fire trucks presumably headed north to the Palisades. It's really spread over a matter of hours, Tom. What really worries us is that experts are predicting these winds to pick up in the night and to get worse. And so we're worried that this is only the beginning.
Okay, Dr. Akshay Syal, we thank you so much for joining our coverage. For more on the exploding wildfire, I'm joined live now by Sue Cole. She's the president of the Pacific Palisades Community Council. She had to evacuate, is now in the Westchester neighborhood of Los Angeles. Sue, walk me through why you had to evacuate and what you saw as you were leaving.
Well, the good news is, there's very little good news, but we've had notifications from the city for the last couple of days that we were going to have terrible wind conditions and a fire could easily erupt. So we were sort of on the ready. This morning started out normally heavy winds, and a lot of us in town heard at about 10:15, 10:20 that a fire had broken out. At first, the evacuation was only meant for areas like the Highlands, the top of Bienvenida, areas that were in the hills. But very quickly, more notifications came saying everybody in town, needs to evacuate. I had calls from a lot of people saying, well, I don't think so. We're in the village, we're in the flats. I told everybody, take your pets, take your medications, take everything that can't be replaced and get out. My family left pretty quickly because I for one, am not a risk taker. So the main problem the Palisades have, as you've seen on all the news reports, is that access in and out is so incredibly limited. We've got Sunset Boulevard to PCH, and these other streets that come down into Sunset get jammed and clogged so quickly. That's why people were, I'm sure, panicking and leaving their cars, just worried that they weren't going to be able to get out. Yeah, sorry to interrupt you. We have an update now. The fire's now grown to 1,300 acres, so another 100 acres since we've been on the air. Do you think there's people stuck? I would be very surprised if there weren't some people stuck. We have elderly people. We have people that can't walk, and unless they have a family member or neighbor at the ready helping them out, it's very frightening because, like I said, everything is jammed up. Even if you can get out of your house, you need to get out of the neighborhood, and it's not easy.
Sue Cole, we thank you for joining our coverage tonight. I'm glad you're in safer grounds right now. I do want to go back to Chase, who's on the scene there at Sunset Boulevard and Pacific Coast Highway. I also want to bring in our meteorologist, Bill Cairns. Bill, I'm going to start with you. Walk us through what Chase is seeing right now and sort of the conditions that are surrounding him and his team.
Yeah, let me give everyone a view of what areas have actually burned and what areas haven't. So here's Los Angeles, here's Malibu. This is where the fire is located, kind of in between the two here. And so closer view in. Everywhere that's shaded in red here is acreage highways down here on the edge. And then we get Sunset Boulevard. And then the road where all the cars got blocked, Palisades Drive, was the road that went up like this, up to the north here. And so it was a congestion point there where everyone everyone was trying to evacuate heading down. That's where the bulldozers had to go and push the cars to the side so the firefighters could get up there. But the fact that we had those embers burning to the south and then spotting down in the city, like where Chase is located, that's what really caught some people by surprise. The people were walking down Palisades Drive to where Chase is, and at the same time, new fires were forming and spotting. So as we go through the night, right now winds are about 40 to 60, but they're going to gust up to 80 to 100. So this is kind of just the beginning. So all the areas that are still the hot spots here, we could have new spotting and new fires forming as the fire will burn to the south towards the coast. So firefighters will be trying to protect homes and structures all through the coastal areas here and in Topanga Beach too as we go throughout the night. And then if any new fires form, obviously that's going to do the exact same thing as this one. So here's the current wind gust, 36 in downtown LA or at the airport at LAX, 43 of Venice. That's where this fire is. But there's other high gusts too if we get any new fires. Tom, I did see one report of something called the Gulch Fire has just formed. That's a more remote area, so we're not as concerned with that one. But all night long, this is going to be going on.
Okay, Bill, stand by for us. I do want to go back to Chase. Chase, for our viewers that may not be familiar with Southern California, where you are right now, talk to us about some of the population centers as this fire moves further south and I guess moves further east, possibly with those winds.
These fires were spotting, so it's not like one continuous area. So there were people who were trapped in their homes, and police and fire said, you can't get out. You just got to stay here, and we're gonna try and keep you safe as the fire truck comes through here. So now that the fire has shifted a bit, they're trying to get people out of there. They really just want people out of this entire area because, the winds have picked up a lot in the last hour, 40 to 60 miles an hour, Bill said. it's hard to imagine 80 to 100. I mean, that's hurricane force wind gusts. What that can do to a wildfire when the conditions are this dry. It's been more than 8 months since Los Angeles has gotten significant rainfall. So we are in a drought here in Southern California, and that truly makes this a dangerous, life-threatening situation, Tom.
And then before you go, Chase, in California right now, in Los Angeles, around what time is sunset? Because we know there's about 300 firefighters that are trying to battle this blaze. Once the sun goes down, it's going to get even more dangerous. Do we know what time around roughly that's happening? Because it may even happen earlier with all the smoke clouding the sun right now.
Officially sunsets around 5 o'clock, so we've got about 40 minutes left officially. But I mean, I can tell you this: it's been dark for a while because of this smoke, and actually, just in the last few minutes, it's gotten a little bit brighter as the smoke has changed direction, as the wind has changed direction just a bit. So they don't have much daylight left. The good news is that fires and embers are easier to spot at night, but the bad news, as Bill mentioned, is that these winds are going to get stronger tonight. So we're really just heading into an even more dangerous situation.
Okay,
as the sun goes
Chase,
down.
you and your team stay safe. Bill, I'm going to let you have the last word here. What do you think is going to happen with the way the wind is pushing right now, and what can we expect come morning?
Yeah, in the beginning of this fire, it was kind of contained away from structures, but now that it's gotten into these structures, the latest updated map from CAL FIRE did show numerous blocks that actually, the fire is burned through, so you assume that a lot of those homes were lost. And because the heat produced in the embers from these homes when they burn, it easily spreads to more homes. So unfortunately, more structures are going to get lost overnight, especially as the winds begin to really increase and pick up. They're estimating maybe a couple dozen homes right now. By the time we get to the morning, that number may unfortunately double. We hope not, but with winds up to 100 miles per hour, you could easily picture that happening. The wild card, Tom, is, will new fires form, and where will they form? And what will they be rural, or will they head through more communities? And this goes all the way down to San Diego tonight too. So I know we're focusing on where this fire is, but this is, as dangerous a wind event as we've had in Southern California in a couple of years. I mean, we're going to see wind damage even without the fires. And then if you get another fire that forms, look out, just like this one. And it relaxes tomorrow about noon. So we got about 12 hours, a little, 16 hours of everyone on pins and needles, just praying new fires don't form.
Bill Cairns for us tonight. Bill, we thank you for all of your coverage as well. Coming up, we're going to have much more on the wildfires ripping through L.A. Liz Kreutz live on the fire line. Plus, new video just into Top Story showing bulldozers removing abandoned cars on highways to make way for first responders rushing to the blaze. And we have new details tonight in the Cybertruck bombing in Las Vegas. Officials are revealing the suspect used AI to plan the attack. We're going to explain after this break. We're back now with the breaking news out of Los Angeles. I want to get right to Liz Kreutz, who's live in the fire zone tonight. Liz, I don't know if there's a better image that says how devastating these fires are. You have fires in the canyons. You have palm trees on fire. Explain to our viewers where you are and what's going on.
Hey, Tom, we're in the same park, the same parking lot on the beach. So we were at just, 20 minutes ago when we were talking to you. Things have changed so fast. The winds have really picked up. And just behind me here, it's remarkable. You can just see those flames, the dark plume of smoke. This hill was untouched when we talked to you before. The embers, because of those strong winds, got blown, now up in flames. I can see in the distance to my right, there's homes over here in the ridge. There's flames behind those homes. Firefighters and first responders are just arriving to the scene here, and the flames have jumped the Pacific Coast Highway. And as you can see, those palm trees up in flames. And again, I mean, we were here, my producer, Jim Sita, he saw the ember, a small little ember hit one of the palm trees. It started to ignite, and within 5 minutes, all 5 of those trees are up in flames, and you can see how much they're moving with the wind blowing them over. On the beach here, every trash can is blown over, just to give a sense of how strong and windy it is. And it's changing very fast as the winds move towards the coast, Tom.
And then, Liz, we're seeing some traffic behind you. Are those people, a lot of them are cop cars, are they people getting out? And which way is the way to safety, or is it too tough right now?
It's hard to know, right? Often it's like get to the coast because you have the beach here. That's sort of a safe area, but the winds are pushing it here. And right before we came on with you, one of those cop cars drove by and did say on a speaker, you should get out. So, our crew is likely to do that when we're done talking to you and find a safe place, And I did see a few people, mostly it's cleared out, Tom, but we have seen a few people who did walk by with suitcases on bikes, trying to get out. And in that press conference, officials continued to reiterate, as did the governor, that if you are told to evacuate, you need to get out. You need to heed that warning. Thankfully, right now, we talked about that traffic. It's let up. Pacific Coast Highway is moving along. You can hear that siren right now. The cop telling that gentleman on a bike to get out.
Yeah, we're going to listen to him as well, Liz. We're going to let you go. You and your team, please get to some safety. Incredible reporting. When we return, we speak to someone who had to evacuate this fire, the race to get out before flames reach their home. Stay with us. Okay, we are back now with our continuing coverage of the wildfires in Los Angeles. It's grown to at least 1,300 acres. It's jumped the Pacific Coast Highway, so burning on one side of the highway and the canyons on the other side. Our teams are spread out across southern Los Angeles tonight covering the storm. We're going to bring you much more later in the broadcast. We do want to update two stories because we have some new reporting on the two big stories we've been following the last couple of days. The first out of Las Vegas. Tom Winters here, who's broken a lot of news on both this story and New Orleans. Let's start with Vegas first. Talk to me about the new reporting you have on this bombing, if you will, and how AI played a role.
Right. So this is the incident that happened at the Trump Hotel that we were covering last week, and so much information came out today. What has been a huge concern, Tom, the entire past year or so, law enforcement agencies coast to coast, really globally, worried about when will AI be used by a terrorist or an attacker to help plan something out. And it appears in the United States, for the first time, AI was used, and it was used in this particular instance. The individual that you're looking at there, the person who drove that Cybertruck, he apparently was searching on one of the AI chat platforms of how much explosives do I need to put this bomb off? How many fireworks do I need to help with my explosive? He was even looking up, one of the things that he had in the truck is a specific explosive powder that if you fire a bullet at it, but it has to be fired at a specific velocity, Tom. So it's going to be the right bullet at the right speed, and then that powder will explode. It's typically used for target shooting. He was looking for that information as well as information on, can I get a phone without having to register information? It was spitting back answers to him, and this is something they're really concerned about.
Can I ask you maybe a blunt question, and it might be complicated, so I get it if you can't answer. Did AI assist in this bombing?
I think it is safe to say that he received information that could have helped him out. I will say this, there are AI, like if you go to any one of the AI mainstream chatbots right now and you said, hey, help me make a bomb, they will tell you, we can't do that, we won't do that, that'll hurt somebody. But if you start to tweak the questions a little bit, you might get some more information that is not perhaps readily accessible, or as we know from AI searching and AI assisted searches, Tom, we do it all the time. It might give you some information that would take you a long time to search and get, and that's where it appears it's going to be helpful. It's something law enforcement is really looking for additional cooperation from these AI companies. Hey, tell us when somebody starts to go down this rabbit hole.
Tom, a really important piece of reporting tonight. We appreciate you being here tonight on Top Story. I now want to go to New Orleans because we have more new reporting on New Orleans as well, and that terror attack that killed 14 people in the Big Easy. The FBI releasing new images of the man responsible for the fatal Bourbon Street ramming as they try to piece together his motive. For more on this, I want to bring in Jesse Kirsch live tonight. Jesse, talk to me about what the new images show us and what we're learning.
Yeah, so Tom, let's go right to that picture. This is of the attacker from New Year's Day in New Orleans on Bourbon Street when he was making one of his visits ahead of this attack in the months beforehand. The FBI releasing these images. They show Jabbar riding a bike through the French Quarter. These were taken on Halloween, according to the FBI, and they're